Hello, everybody. Welcome to Talking Teal Season 6, Episode 1. I'm Joan Cohen.
I'm Mimi Torchin, and this is, I think, Missy Torchin
You think?
Cohen, but I don't know if she's going to stay. No, I know it. I know who she is.
Yeah, that's good. I think it's Missy. Okay. We're Lady Parts TV, in case you're wondering. And Missy seems to be okay with the top dog shirt now. She was very scared of it this morning.
Very funny. It was the hang.
Go to our Instagram and see the latest video that I posted.
Is it because it says dog on it?
All right, so we are back. New season of Wentworth, new season of Talking Teal. Before we get into the episode, which we will in depth, we will, we want to tell you what's going on with, we promised yesterday, in case you were following our social media, that we would explain what's going on with this season of Talking Teal. So, Lily, many of you wrote and said that you love Talking Teal, you miss Talking Teal, you want more episodes, and we hear you. And so, in advance, we provided a perk for a full episode. You've had personal perks, podcasts and vlogs, 2-on-1. But there was also the option to buy a full episode of Talking Teal. Now, I know it's a lot of money for one person. And so Lily wrote and gave us this wonderful idea. She said, just on last thing for my fellow Wentworth fans, if we suppose that the season will have 12 episodes as the previous season, and that we'll have Talking Teal episodes for the premiere and the finale, because we promised they would be on us.
Those are free.
It remains 10 episodes for the season. As the perk for a full talking episode costs $250, it will cost $2,500 for a full Talking Teal season. If we're 25 people, everyone has to pay $100 to raise the goal of $2,500. So, if we can raise $2,500, can we have a full Talking Teal season? Who's with me? And she made me realize that if we could make it easier for you to even just one episode at a time raise the money, then we are here and thrilled to do as many episodes as you'd like us to do. So right now, thanks to a few really wonderful women who we'll thank personally in the next Talking Teals, we have episodes 2 and episode
we just
3.
Got episode 3. Now, I just want to explain, because I'm mostly just talent here. Liron works hours and hours and hours to put these together. She goes through all of the emails, she edits them, she puts them together. It really is a lot of work. And that's why they're kind of expensive, because they're very, very labor intensive. It's not just what you see, which is also a little labor intensive, because they're long. So I just want to say that...
Thanks, baby.
Yeah.
So anyway, we opened a new IndieGoGo campaign, especially for the season of Talking Teal. The goal on it is $2,500, but the way that it will work is every time we reach 250 increment, we will do an episode after that. So right now we've already gotten enough money, $500 for 2 episodes. That's episodes 2 and 3. So you know that in the next 2 weeks you'll have Talking Teal. So be prepared to write your emails. And after that, again, you can give as much or as little as you can, and together, whenever we reach $250 more, we'll do an episode of Talking Teal. So I'm giving you the direct link to the IndieGoGo campaign all over the place, and also you can always just go to the latest blog post and check it out there. There's a link there. So thank you, everybody who contributed already, and we're excited and hoping to do as many episodes as possible.
And even though it doesn't sound like it, because I mostly just sit here and look cute, I am the top dog.
I'm the top cat, so, but you do a lot. I just did the Bernie thing, you do. Anyway, Talking Teal, Season 6, Episode 1, written by Pete McTighe of Wentworth Royalty, and directed by Kevin Carlin, also Wentworth Royalty.
And let us just say, speaking of Wentworth Royalty,
yes,
the cinematography, Kathy Chambers.
She's the queen, really.
It was so magnificent. The lighting was so magnificent. The mood.
The editing,
the shots.
And Joss, too.
The editing. It was, I wish I could remember what I had said about it, is that it was,
if you could only quote yourself.
Yeah, if only I could quote myself. That it was, anyway, it was so obvious without being obvious. Mm-hmm. You just couldn't, I was it was breathtaking. I thought how great looking it was.
Yeah, many people commented on that as well. That it was just very, very. It sucked you in.
Mhm.
The opening sequence was really, really what.
It was attention. It grabbed your attention, but wasn't attention grabbing.
Very good.
And I think that sort of really summed up the artistry of Kathy Chambers.
Yes.
And I don't know who the lighting person is, but next time.
So the emails were kind of split down the middle as people who were very excited by the first episode and were happy to be excited about the show again, and people who were still not convinced and will need more. However, Lauren, who lives in Australia and went to a special premiere of the first 2 episodes a few weeks ago, she said that when she first watched it, she wasn't really excited about the first episode, but then after she saw the second episode, and we know that they shoot them as 2 episode parts.
Blocks.
Right,
Mhm.
blocks. So after she saw the second episode, and then she saw the first episode again this week, she said now it makes a lot more sense to her. So,
Well,
I mean, we were excited
so
about
we'll
it.
get our pay. I liked it anyway,
Yeah.
but so some people will get their payoff in the second.
It sounds like
episode.
it's possible,
Mhm.
yes. So that's something to look forward to. Now, we have a new character on the show. We have several new characters on the show, but I think that we have to start with the person who, to me, made the first episode so exciting. Rita Connors, played by Leah Purcell. Fantastic,
wonderful
fantastic,
character,
fantastic.
wonderful actress, very interesting, kind of intriguing, but also a lot of heart and soul.
Mhm.
Just the kind of character that I think the show
Is desperate
needed.
for.
Mhm.
Definitely.
And just let me just say real quickly
Yep.
that I was really happy with the episode.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed it. I was very happy to see it sort of be right back on track. I think a lot of that is because there was no Joan Ferguson.
Yes, though the finale of last season was already a really good finale.
Fantastic
I
finale.
think one
It
of
was,
I think one of the secrets is Pete McTighe. He wrote the finale. He always writes the
yeah,
premiere.
he's a fantastic writer.
He is. We have a lot to say about Rita, and I was actually going to save this to the end. But what I really think is important about it is they managed to, in one episode, create a very layered, complex, intriguing, fabulous character in one episode.
Absolutely. They
Which
left a lot
is-
of mystery surrounding her.
It's a testament to both the excellent writing and excellent acting. So this is Wentworth at its best when they can, in one episode, create this really a whole world in one character. So kudos on that.
Yeah.
Now, some of you, you're such astute observers. I didn't even think about it, but many of you pointed out that that Rita's entrance to her sequence coming into the prison was very much like Bee's sequence coming into the prison. In fact, it was a lot the same.
Mhm.
Very much was similar. Denise pointed out that the main difference was that whereas Bee was terrified
I was
coming
just
into the
going to
prison,
say,
Rita was very confident.
Yeah.
Seemed at least very confident.
I was going to say the difference there was that Rita had she didn't seem fazed by it, and B was a scared little bird.
Yes, but I think that it was probably very a conscious choice to make their entrances
Mhm.
very similar. And Rachel says that maybe that could point to the fact that she would be our new tragic hero. Not that we need more tragedy, but B was one of the most fabulous characters I think I've ever seen on television.
Yes.
with a fantastic arc, even to the very terrible,
Very
bitter
last
end.
second.
Lauren has a few observations about Rita. So first of all, thank you everybody who pointed me to the Instagram video where they explained the backstory to Rita and Ruby.
It helped.
Yes, it did. So Rita was a policewoman and she was chasing a stolen car, and the car crashed, and it turned out that her sister was in the car. So Rita does feel very much guilty for whatever happened to her sister after the crash, or because of the crash. So of course she had to take the blame.
Not that it was her fault. Her sister stole the car. It was her job to.
But you know how feelings go. They
I
are not
do.
very rational. And so Rita felt guilty for the crash, and so of course she feels very protective of her sister, and she has taken the blame for
Mhm.
something that she did. And I'm sure that this will be repeating a pattern that she will take
reoccurring
on a lot.
theme.
Yeah.
Mhm. Although they obviously haven't been in any contact. I mean, probably the sisters it was her choice.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I'm sure that there's a lot to find out about their relationship. Also, an interesting observation from Lauren is that even though Kaz sews her hand, which was a very brutal thing to look
I
at.
didn't watch.
We just saw on another show that somebody was taking somebody's tongue out, by the way.
I didn't watch.
Anyway, that Rita didn't seem to resent Cass for it. It seems like she understands hierarchy and punishment, and that could be maybe from being in a gang. But anyway, she seemed to have
enforcement.
Right. She seemed to have still respect for her and just accept her punishment as something that is inevitable.
And did you mention that she took the blame for her sister?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I must have been in Rio.
Also, one of my favorite moments from that episode when she gives Boomer that little advice about splitting her cookies so she could have twice as many.
I love that.
First of all, again, those beautiful little moments that only Wentworth does. But also, Lauren says, maybe that is foreshadowing of something. Mm-hmm. Many of you saw that. Many of you commented on how Boomer is the most fragile person in the prison, and she always belongs to somebody. She belonged to Frankie. She belonged to
Sonia,
Sonia now. Before that, Socrates.
Right.
And so now when Sonia and Liz, she's going to be stuck in the middle between the two of them. Maybe she won't choose either of them. Maybe she'll choose Rita as her new
That'd be interesting.
person. Yeah. So there could be a beginning of an alliance there. Sarah called Rita a reluctant leader. And I like that because she's definitely top dog material. She has a big heart, and she will probably be a good...
And she's tough.
She's tough, but she's compassionate. Mm-hmm. She's definitely top dog material, but I don't know that she'll want it even. But she might have to become one because she does have this kind of sense of wanting to step up and do the right thing for people.
Although I have to say, Kaz is doing a very good job, it seems. This first episode showed that she was really in charge. She was her usual velvet glove, fist in a velvet glove.
She shows more of the fist in this one.
Yes, but she still is kind to her girls and takes care of them. So I think Kaz is looking better as a top dog.
Well, if you want to go to Kaz, we can go to Kaz, but I do want to go back to Rita afterwards.
We don't have to come to Kaz right now.
Okay. So I just want to say before we're done with Rita, Rachel had the best theory. She calls it a crazy theory. I think it actually is the most reasonable theory I've heard about Rita. So I'll just read it as it is. Rita Connors is an undercover cop. Who would chance years in prison to see a sister who has 6 months left on her sentence?
You're saying, who could be inside? That sounded to me like it was the further of the sentence.
No, it's like a question mark. Who would do such a thing?
Who would do such a thing?
I mean, it doesn't make much sense, and she's a smart person. She's not, Look at what they've showed us already. She was a cop. She's using a new name, according to Ruby. She was with a biker gang before entering the prison, probably undercover as well. This will be revealed with the arrival of the new governor. I don't know why people are assuming there's a new governor. Maybe there's something I don't know, or maybe it's just because we assume that Veera would not be able to stay.
Somebody read something. I don't know.
Or
because of her pregnancy.
Oh. Well, no, because that's okay. Everybody knows about that. No, because she is because of everything she did. I mean, she stepped into becoming kind of an interim governor because of Channing being fired. But otherwise, there's no reason to assume that they'll let her stay governor, I guess.
But governor of the prison is different from what Channing was.
Well, after Channing fired Veera, he stepped in to be an interim, and then he was fired, and she stepped in to be an interim. I think that's what happened. Anyway, the point is, after everything that went down in the prison, when a prisoner losing a tongue, a prisoner almost being hanged, there's reason to believe they wouldn't want to leave her as governor. She stepped down, I think, at some point. Anyway. She'll end up taking the blame for some horrible deed Ruby commits and will end up being an actual inmate before it's over. I think this sounds like perfect Wentworth material.
Yes, it does. It sounds... I'd be interested to know what she's undercover for.
Well, but the biker gang. My theory, because Mimi thought...
Was there anybody else there who was part of the gang?
No. So Mimi thought that she went into prison undercover to find out something in the prison. Right. I'm thinking... she got busted when she was undercover, and then she told the cops, because usually they would say, once you're being in, and she'll say, I'm an undercover cop, and they'll say, okay, let's rough you up a little bit and send you back out. And maybe she said, but my sister's in prison, give me a few days to go in and then take me out.
All right.
That's my theory.
There's a whole story, but okay.
That's my theory. So, but I think the fact, because we thought when we saw her being a policewoman, we thought, she was so guilty after the crash that she lost her way and she became a biker.
Yeah, we tried to figure that out. We figured she was a cop.
Well, yeah, the uniform.
Yeah,
so
that was a dead giveaway.
so I do think that Rachel's theory is the thing that makes the most amount of sense.
Yeah, I agree. It's a good theory.
Now, from Rita, it makes sense to go to Ruby. I'm sorry if I'm butchering her name, but it's Rariwoy Hick. So
don't look at me.
They definitely look like they could be sisters.
Yes, very good casting.
Very good casting. She seems right now, nobody really, none of you in your emails particularly feel that you like her very much, which makes a lot of sense. She's a hothead.
She's not likable.
She's prickly. She's kind of ungrateful. But though, there's history obviously there.
There's history.
But she does seem very angry, and she does seem very powerful. And what's interesting
Powerful
is...
in what way?
She beat that girl to a
strong.
pulp.
Yeah.
Yes.
Strong. Oh, yeah.
However, she didn't remember doing it. So Denise said she saw an interview with the actress, and she said that because of the car crash, she had a head injury, and since then she's been having kind of epilepsy or maybe seizures that make her black out. So that could be an interesting storyline there.
They set the groundwork for a lot of interesting possibilities.
It was a very
upcoming
full
episodes
episode, yeah.
For the season. Mm-hmm.
Now, just as an aside, I noticed that since Ruby and Rita are in there, there's been a lot more talk about blackness and about racism.
Mm-hmm.
We now have a Muslim extra. I don't think she'll actually have lines, but we saw somebody with a hijab.
Mm-hmm.
So another interesting kind of interjection of more
Kind of
more
trying to be
topical.
more, especially in the prison, one would think, a little bit more than just white women in prison.
Well, we had
Doreen,
usually, yeah,
we had a few,
but there wasn't talk about how it affects women in prison, how it affects them, leading them to become prisoners, how it affects their lives. So maybe there'll be more of that, more kind of social connotations. By the way, the girl she beats up, whose name is Spike apparently.
Oh yeah.
Sarah did some detective work.
Oh, Sarah.
And because she looks familiar to her, and the actress is called Kate Eliot, and apparently she played Yakut, an Amazon queen, on several episodes of Xena.
Yeah, so she's been around.
I guess she looks so young.
Yeah, she looks a little too young, but
so a little bit of like an Easter egg there for you Xena fans.
Us Xena fans.
Well, Danielle Cormack. Also,
absolutely. I was
the
a
big
sort of
Xena
late
connection.
in the day Xena fan. I think I only watched a few seasons.
Well, I didn't watch any. Don't hold it against me. All right, now we have to, before we... you know how pathetic this is? I had a small piece of paper left, so I thought, who would fit in this piece of paper? And unfortunately, that's as always in the...
My goodness.
Allie.
Allie!
Again, so underused, it's criminal.
We hardly even think about it when we're talking about her.
Because she barely had anything to do.
People.
When she did have something to do, it was almost meaningless.
I don't understand it. She first of all, she's a character we were made to love. Secondly, she's a wonderful, wonderful actress. Kate Jenko is just such a brilliant addition to the show. I just saw her in an old Miss Fisher Murder Mystery. I didn't even recognize her. She was so different and so hilariously funny.
There's so much they can do with her.
She has depths that no one has even scratched, and we didn't even think to mention her.
Right. So, well, Rachel says she believes she'll be comic relief and have a little flirtation with Ruby.
Ruby?
With Ruby.
I don't see it.
Well, they already had a little kind of an exchange in the first episode. Lauren said that it seems like they're definitely setting her up to be sidekick again, and she moved from being Kaz's girl to being Bee's girl to being Frankie's girl. So she says now she thinks it will be Ruby's plotline that she'll be attached to. However, here's a little a little ray of light and a possibility. Denise reminds us that we haven't heard almost anything really about her backstory yet. And we definitely haven't seen it, which we're used to seeing flashbacks of backstory. Now, there is a new character that will enter in the next few episodes. I don't know exactly when she enters. Her name will be Mary Winters. Winters? Anyway, she'll be played by Susie Porter, and she is the queen of the sex trafficking ring.
Oh, interesting.
Now, we know that apparently in a preview, it was seen Kaz and Allie have known her from before. Now, we know Allie was a prostitute. This could be, hopefully, her big storyline this season.
I certainly hope so.
Yeah.
Because I'm tired of her being ill-used.
It really is criminal. But I have hopes that will be her major storyline. And I don't know about you people. I know there's a lot of Allie fans out there. I'm personally ready for Allie to have a little bit of love.
Yes.
She needs
it. B is dead. I'm sorry to say, in case you didn't miss that episode.
Or in case you're still thinking that she might be.
She's dead. Allie deserves a life. She's a good girl.
All right, so let's go back to Kaz now. She told Will in the finale of last season, she was talking to him about sometimes that you have to be violent for the greater good. Sometimes you have to cross a line. She seemed to have learned that lesson herself. She seems to be more willing to implement violence in order to prevent violence, which is kind of ironic, but kind of seems like
little violence to prevent big violence.
Right. Now, what are you thinking? She and Will, by the end of the season, will there be hot, heavy sex?
I didn't even think about it.
I mean, she and Will seem to have been heading towards a love story for a while now.
Might be. I don't see the chemistry of it, but
since they had that flipping over with the van, they've been really good allies. If nothing else, I hope they continue to be allies. Kaz is top dog, Will is something. I don't think he's the top dog
when,
there, but
when Will starts to freak out because
she'll be there to help
of what he did to Joan, which she deserved 100%, maybe she'll be there for him.
Now, also the question is, how long will she last as top dog when we have people like Sonia, when we have people like Rita, possibly this new Mary. She sounds like she's used to being in charge of things. So how long will she able to stay as top dog? And Rachel says maybe Boomer will become her new ally and her enforcer.
That would be good.
Interesting.
I think they'd make a good pair in that department. Now remember, Cass wasn't picked up for shoplifting. Cass was the red right hand.
Only against men.
Yes, that's
true. She's never violent
she
against
is
women.
capable
That's her
of violence.
Yes, but it's her principle to never be violent against women. So, all right, and since we're talking about Boomer, Boomer, Liz, Sonia, the triangle. I think from the previews it seems like we're going to be
triangle at this point.
From the previews it seems like most of that story will happen next episode, and the preview says. Who is hunting who or whom?
I know who's hunting who.
Well, Liz actually showed that she is capable of doing more than we thought she could do.
Yes, but she's done her thing now. She's sort of got to keep her, watch her back.
Well, I would be really happy Liz should be really angry. And last year that made her crazy.
She really was angry and consequently poisoned
Right,
Sonia.
But what I'm saying is last season we saw Liz really, really losing her shit. Really, really kind of going mental or postal, as you all like to say. Now, hopefully her anger that made her poison Sonia will just make her say, fuck this shit. I'm not letting anybody step on me anymore. And then we might see a new Liz emerge.
That'll be interesting.
That will be interesting. Now, Kathy's asking, can both Liz and Sonia survive? Which is a question I didn't even think about because I just assumed they would. But you're right. I don't know how they can make it so that both of them survive. And if one of them doesn't survive, who will it be?
Especially Sonia is going to be mad as hell. And we know how Sonia deals with her enemies.
She doesn't. What is her line? I forgot her line. Her famous line. She doesn't.
So great.
She doesn't respond well
to threats or to poisoning.
Yeah.
I don't respond well to Right. ... Beware.
Now, Denise said up until now she's kind of been a control sociopath, which we've been enjoying seeing because she's mostly very entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
And then she just flips on a second, and then she's violent, but she's not like sadistically violent.
Right.
But will she change? Will we see a new Sonia now?
I think Sonia. I'm not worried about Sonia.
Oh, I'm worried about Liz.
Yeah.
I'm really worried about Liz. That's my problem.
Yeah. I think Liz has. You have with what to be worried, as my
Yes.
mother would say.
Also, the other thing is that I didn't think about it. I hadn't anticipated it. That Boomer is really kind of being looked at as in suspicion of poisoning Sonia, because she was the one who actually handed her the tea. Liz gave her the tea.
Oh, that's right.
to
But
hand
she
it.
loves Sonia.
I know, but will she get in trouble for that? Is it something that she will be able to prove that she didn't do?
I hope she won't get in trouble.
I mean, Sonia definitely knows who did it, but will the authorities know? Will poor Boomer get even more sentence time? I don't know.
Tune in next week.
So, my least favorite story of this episode, and probably of the season, Vera and Jake. Personally, I think you're all asking, we're asking, nobody even cares about Jake anymore. Nobody likes Jake. Nobody even likes to hate Jake. Why is he still around? Really?
Well, he's obviously some sort of a pawn. He's obviously there to move story in one direction or another.
I find, though, that his story with Vera is the most low type of soapy story there is. It's I'm not trashing soaps. I'm just saying
please.
there are high level soap stories, and there's the easiest storyline, which is, it's like we used to say about Joan always being in the right place to listen to people.
That is soap opera.
This is to me too. It's constantly going around in circles. I'll blackmail him, and then he'll blackmail me, and then he'll blackmail him. Yeah, I mean, enough. It's just boring.
And also, how dumb was Vera to leave that information on her, that log on her computer?
There is no and then she goes and deletes it. So obviously it was very easy. At first I thought, well, maybe there are some logs that you can't,
closing the barn door after the horses
but it's escaped. It's one of those things that are like, really? Because I thought when he saw it, I thought, oh, maybe there was a log that she couldn't, maybe the system doesn't allow you to delete some of them, but then she goes in and deletes it. So why wouldn't she have done that to begin with? Doesn't make any sense.
Well, Vera.
No, Vera is smart.
Vera's smart, but Vera doesn't always protect herself in the way she should.
Well, no, but that was stupid. That was just stupid. There was no reason for that. Now,
what that was an element to move the story in a certain direction.
Yes, but it's one of those, like last year, one of those very, very easy, non-realistic ways to move the story along, and a story that we don't even like.
Right.
So now,
we don't. I mean, maybe a couple of other people do.
I don't think so. From your reactions in your emails, you were all like, yawn at best.
Don't do that. I'm going to start yawning now.
Or you were Jen at worst, which was like, what the fuck is going on? She was very angry. So now you have a few assumptions. First of all, we're wondering if she will stay governor. Rachel thinks,
I don't see how she can stay governor, actually, now that
we remember everything that had happened under her watch. Yeah. With regards to Channing being fired, Rachel said, though, that that she thought they took the easy path with him, that he was such an evil character that we should have gotten a little more drama in wrapping up his story rather than just saying, oh, he was fired.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen him get
dragged on and cuffed.
I would have liked to have seen him, actually see him get his punishment, but
maybe they didn't want to renew the contract.
He works a lot.
Kathy is wondering if Vera will be so desperate now that she will become more Ferguson-like. I sure hope not. I really, we do not need a new Ferguson. We took us so long to get rid of one Ferguson.
We barely needed an old Ferguson for more than a couple of seasons.
Now, Sarah says something that I don't know that I agree with. She said that Vera must be in agony because that's when she shines, triumphing in the end. I don't want to see Vera in agony anymore. I'm tired of seeing Vera in agony.
Vera's been in agony most of her time on the show.
Most of her life.
Starting with her mother, exactly. The only time she was happy was a few minutes with Jake.
Yes, and we knew while we were watching it that it wasn't real, so we couldn't even enjoy that. So I'm ready for Vera to just become a really, really assertive, confident, manipulative, but in a good way, chick.
And isn't she the tiniest person on earth?
She's the tiniest person on earth. Some of you have raised the question of whether a person with Hep C can have children. So I actually
C.
Googled that. And apparently it isn't dangerous or unusual for people who have been infected with AIDS.
And what about the child?
No, it's not. It's
great.
mostly there are treatments, and there's a very low risk of the child actually
Great.
being infected. So thank you for caring.
Well, you can treat also fetuses
In utero.
with when their parents have AIDS,
Right.
to help
Right.
them not be born
Yeah.
or to get rid of it right away.
Now, some of you are saying that you'll think Jake and Vera will end up together, that he will be redeemed somehow, and that they will end up
How
together.
can he be
I don't
redeemed? He's a bad guy.
He is a bad guy, because even when he was sort of, trying to be better, he was still bad.
He's a bad guy.
And he's just an annoying character. And I don't want to see Vera with him. I want Vera happy, and I want Vera to be
Vera
with...
should be a lesbian.
I was about to say
Of
Vera
course.
should be with Bridget.
Of course you were.
I'm sorry, Bridget fans. I'm sorry. I know this is blasphemy, but I think Vera and Bridget have something special.
They do, actually.
And you know that they would be so good to each other. So yes, I think all women should be lesbians, but that's just my
And
opinion.
I love when Vera
Not
lies
trying to
for
convert
Bridget.
anybody. Yes, what?
When she lies for Bridget.
Which she did again.
Yes.
So, since we're talking about Bridget, let's talk about Frankie and Frigid, because there is no Bridget these days without Frigid. She doesn't have a
She doesn't
standalone
have a
story.
storyline.
That's it.
Mhm.
So, first of all,
Which
Frankie.
is a waste. It's too bad.
Frankie is on the run. There are posters of her. Okay, everything I'm going to say right now, you'll have to. What is it? What is the word?
Pantomime?
Sure.
Oh.
Okay. So there are posters of Frankie everywhere. No, don't. No, I regretted it the second I said it.
Because you know I do it.
Okay, so first of all, my question is, how long can she realistically keep it up? I mean, to me, already it's a bit unrealistic that she's standing next to her poster. And, the hoodie. Just putting a hoodie on. So there were a few fuck-ups that we're not buying. Sarah says, I didn't even think about that. She goes to Iman's place and then touches everything, no gloves, fingerprints
Everything. You talked about that at the time. I said, what is she doing? Is she gonna... Oh, well.
I mean, it's kind of comical at this point. Lauren said, first of all, going back to sleep in the same train yard that you slept the night before, when posters of you are everywhere and people probably know what you look like because you were on television and the radio and stuff, not a good idea to go to the same place. Secondly, and I asked this many times, even when she was planning her escape, even if she finds evidence, why would the police take evidence from a fugitive? Isn't it even police when they find evidence that they're not... Well, fruit of the poisonous tree, right? You're not allowed to accept evidence that was taken illegally.
Right.
So, and anyway, she's taking a bunch of stuff from her apartment and just running away with it. So I don't know how she plans on being credible enough to produce evidence that would actually be taken seriously by the police.
Let's not think about that.
No?
Well, otherwise it makes the whole thing...
we're pointing out the things that are a little unrealistic.
But then it makes her whole
My favorite
quest.
Well, yes, I do. I have to say, I do enjoy seeing her on the run.
Yes,
I think it's fun.
It is fun.
I just think it's a little...
It opens things up. It's kind of...
I just think she's a little savvier than... I mean, after all this time, I would expect her to not do this stupid stuff that she's been doing.
That's true.
My favorite...
She's desperate.
My favorite, which I didn't even realize, but Anne pointed it out to me, so I went and I rewatched it and I realized it was true, that she would risk getting caught and getting Bridget in trouble just to go and ask her for a ride.
Don't they have Ubers in Australia?
I just thought I'd come and ask you for a ride. Really? I mean, 48 hours ago, apparently it was 48 hours ago, you came, you hugged her from, you saw her from across the street, you wouldn't even come to hug her. And, you said, I'll see her at some point. And I thought that she was going to go prove her innocence and then she'd see her.
Have the wonderful reunion.
I didn't think she would go and ask her for a ride 48 hours later. That was insane. And of course, while she's there, the police come in. I have to...
But Bridget did a very good job.
Yeah, she
keeping
did.
them
And
at
she had that
bay.
off-the-shoulder look, too, while she was doing it. I have to quote two people. So Jen, who was angry, as I said, says, the conversation they had sounded like it was lifted from last season's script. Frankie, this is crazy. I'm going to go down for murder if I don't do something. Rolls eyes. True. Their dialogue is extremely repetitive and doesn't really lead anywhere.
Yes, couldn't they talk about
Something.
their feelings a little bit?
Something.
Also.
Something. Anything. Sarah says, great to see Frankie and Bridget sharing a moment and a hug, but damn stupid move at the same time and piss poor timing. But then that's what we've come to expect from these two, doing stupid, dangerous things just to be together. Gotta love that while smacking your head at the same time. It's true. I'm kind of losing hope of ever seeing Bridget just being happy.
I don't think it's ever going to happen.
I think that,
I mean, they may get a moment again, but I don't think as a long-term thing it's something that we can expect.
Not on screen anyway. If they end up sending them off into the sunset, it will be something that in theory will have to...
I was going to say, are you talking about RL?
No.
I don't think so.
No. I meant as in something that they will allude to and we'll have to imagine as opposed to something we'll actually get to see.
Okay.
Because you do have several theories about what will happen with Frankie, and I'll read them all. But before that, we are wondering also if Libby really actually injured her leg, and they had to. She
must have. What would be the point? Unless she's going to have to go on the run too.
Oh, she'll have to chase
she'll have to go on the hobble
or something, you know? And then will the leg injury come into play at some point? I don't know. All right, so theories for Frankie. Let's start with Rachel. Sorry. The picture of the child on the fridge in Iman's place is the key to Frankie's exoneration. It's going to turn out Iman and Panisi had a kid together, and that will be the connection Frankie needs. She'll come close to getting killed, but I can't believe they would kill Frankie after killing B. I think she and Bridget end up moving away together. Either way, the character of Frankie will not be around for too much longer. I thought the kid on the picture was Iman when she was young,
yeah,
but I guess
I
guess it could be a child
or a sister.
Okay, so that's theory number one. Kathy says, it's fun seeing Frankie on the outside, and I'm sure there will be more heart-pounding, full of energy moments this season, but there's nothing like Frankie on the inside. Is there any way Frankie doesn't end up back inside one way or another?
I don't see it.
You know, yes, Frankie on the inside is fun, but now we have new characters in that are interesting enough. And I want Frankie to be
I want
released.
her to be free. And the thing is that even if she's on the inside, it will be while they're investigating her evidence that she's uncovered. You know, they can't just let her go. But I think she will eventually be free.
No, they're saying that they'll catch her, she'll go back and just serve another sentence.
No, that's so boring.
I think Frankie is the story that we need to have a successful story. Yes, I mean, I know we had Doreen, but we weren't really invested in Doreen as much as we're invested in Frankie. Okay, Denise's theory. A lot of fans think she will be shot by the police and killed because that was her fate in the original, in Prisoner. I honestly don't think the writers will go there. I've heard she uncovers more than just the evidence to clear her name, but that is a rumor, so who knows. However, I'm hoping Frankie does stay out of prison. There are so many things the writers could do with the character, and it could include Bridget as well if they're out. But
as we saw, she was helping other people as a paralegal, and there are things that could be done.
Right. I mean, at this point, only if she's fully exonerated can she go on to have a real life. Right. Otherwise, she'll just be on the run, and she'll have to go to another country, I think. But yeah, I personally thought that...
Don't try to immigrate to America.
I personally thought...
Good luck.
I personally thought that when she was out to begin with, they could have done so much with her instead of putting her back in prison. I think she could have been a great advocate for the women. She could have been still involved with the prison as an advocate for the women, but nobody asked me. Okay, Lauren. I can't see too many endings for Frankie other than she dies being chased, she and Bridget go somewhere no one knows them. Let's be honest, now the police are asking questions about Bridget's relationship with Frankie. They will never be free to be together even if Frankie is cleared. Or Frankie,
no. Why
probation
not?
officers. She wouldn't be allowed to be with her for a long time. Or Frankie's caught and put back in jail. Can't see this happening as she's pregnant in real life and think she has only been in Melbourne right before season 7 filming started. I think this is Frankie's last season. Some of you are thinking that this is Frankie's last season, though apparently there was an interview that she made where she said that she would be happy to play Frankie for more seasons, and so that was kind of a hint that she's not going to die. But then there's the original story where she did die. So We'll have to just wait and see. As for Bridget, first of all, now she's a suspect too, because they are suspecting everybody knows. I mean, really, that she was in a relationship with Frankie. So
yes.
Yeah. So she is the obvious thing, the obvious suspect in helping her escape. But Denise has something to say, what she thinks about Bridget.
Maybe her foot will have something to do with that.
See, that's what I'm thinking. No, not really. I actually think it was just
that happened.
Yeah. So. Denise, I've heard Bridget's part in episode 2 is bigger. We still know nothing about Bridget, and I can't understand why they led us down a path to believe she could have secrets and that haven't come out yet. From the scenes with Joan asking if she had ever been raped to Doreen yelling that she wouldn't understand because she isn't a mother, Bridget has had a question mark over her head. Now, she also goes to say that maybe we're all reading too much into all these things. Maybe they were just, ways to make the scenes more tense or
red herrings.
Yes, that could be. Or, things happen from one season to another. Maybe they had plans that they decided to scrap. Maybe they had plans for Frankie that they decided to change, and then Bridget had to change along with her.
Who knows? We will either find out,
or we won't.
Or we will find out that there's nothing to find out.
Exactly. Now, to the person who was not there, but whose shadow loomed over. Ferguson. So most of you were really happy not to see her anymore.
Really, 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 really happy.
But you also said, and I think rightfully so, that even though she's not there, her presence will probably be felt for the entire season. Whether, be it in either just the way that she propelled some people's plots, maybe she'll come back as nightmares.
She can come back as nightmares. She can come back as a ghost. She can come back as a French fry. Just as long as she doesn't come back as Joan alive.
Right. So that's something that we'll have to wait and see about. But there are ways, because there have been rumors that she was contracted for season 6, but there are ways to still employ
yes, and I would enjoy having Pamela
Rabe
back.
Employ Pamela Rabe without actually
exactly. I would enjoy having her back as an actress, and but just not as a living, breathing Joan Ferguson, because it's been enough already for 2 years.
Yeah.
And now we saw her buried alive. She should not be able to be. She's not Superwoman.
Well, we're assuming that she's dead until proven otherwise.
Please.
Now, Will, who we didn't see too much of what's. I'm sure we'll see more and more of him being haunted by what he has done. But I think in that one line that he says to Jake, that he said, I did it for Veera and the girls, to me, that's already showing that he's constantly trying to justify it to himself. He can't just say, oh, I did it because I fucking hated her and I wanted to kill her, but I did it because I'm the hero that I am, and I do it for the girls, and I did it for Veera. So we're already seeing signs of him trying to rationalize and justify.
And it makes sense. He's a moral man.
Yes, probably one of the very few on that show. But Lily had the most interesting reaction to Ferguson's absence on the show. And she says the whole season 5 was about getting revenge and getting the freak to pay for what she's done. So this whole storyline just can't end this way. Just to be clear, I don't want the freak to come back. She's dead.
Thank you, Lily.
A lot of people were involved in her escaping, and I want to see how her death now impacts their lives. I want to see when and who discovers the body, or what remains of it, and how the investigation goes. So that makes sense to me. I mean, even though, again, we don't want to see her alive, it would be interesting to see them discover the body. It would be interesting to see how different people react to that, what they managed to find. Poor Will being,
I don't want to see that grave with an empty coffin.
Definitely not. No. But, I mean, I don't really want to see the body either, but I want them to see the body.
I don't want to see the body. No, I've already seen her hanging, which
that was
horrible
awful.
Enough.
And by the way,
that was terrible.
When we watched it right before the episode starts, the previously on Wentworth, I can't tell you how many times I cringed just watching the previously, and just, oh no, that was awful. Oh no. So that again reiterated to me how really the season 5 was just not up to par.
And what about Lucy? Juicy Lucy being back.
So now, now we have these little.
I'm jumping the
gun. No.
My wife keeps secrets from me, so I could be surprised.
Just to keep it fresh. So Lucy's back, son's tongue. So that will be, we'll see if she just, becomes kind of a marginal character, or if she takes
It's
more.
going to be hard for her to be slinging around bon mot without a tongue.
Well, she'll have to have one of those things with a board, with a, having to write.
But it does screw up the timing when
It
you're going
kinda
to throw
does.
out a good one and you have to write it all down.
But they did choose to bring her back, so they
Yes.
obviously have plans for her. Lauren is asking, I didn't even think about it, where are Tina Mercado and her crew? Now that Ferguson is gone, they don't need them anymore. We also
I like Tina. She's cute.
She's funny. Not so cute, I
No,
would think.
not cute. She's funny.
Spike is now working in the laundry, so they're going to do more with her. It will be interesting to see how much she will factor in. Barbie Nurse is back. I was not happy to see that.
Oh, well, she's all right.
I mean, under her watch, a woman got her tongue cut off. I would think that would be enough to get her fired, but what do I know? And also, Kathy says that on Wikipedia, episode 3 she saw is called Bleed Out. So, will they kill another main character?
Oh, I hope not.
This is Wentworth. Anything can happen.
Oh.
So this sums up the premiere of season 6 of Wentworth.
Highly rewarding, I feel.
It was a really good, I mean, I know that not all of you are convinced yet, and I don't blame you. There's a lot of resentment. There's some feelings there.
But I'm willing to take it episode by episode. Remember, we had several years where every episode was a winner, and we loved every minute of it. And I'm same people are running the show. I'm certainly willing to give it every opportunity to return to its former glory.
It is really hard to keep up really, really, really top-notch episodes season after season. I think most shows have
some slumps.
Yeah. Usually I find that it's season 3. I don't know why people say it's usually season 2.
Sophomore
usually it's season 3. I found that Wentworth season 3 was my favorite season. So season 5 was Wentworth's season, but there's every reason to believe that they can go back to their glory days. And
absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is they had some phenomenal characters in the beginning that are dead or gone. But there's no reason you can't bring in new characters. Again, Leah Purcell is just a
very
wonderful
exciting
actress, and Sonia. Oh my God!
And this Mary Winter chick could be very interesting.
She could be interesting. So,
and who knows who will be the new governor? There are quite a few new actors joining the show, so we don't know what they're planning. But I think that they are planning a lot. I think that season 5, maybe they kind of put themselves into a clusterfuck with having to wrap up Joan Ferguson's plot somehow. Anyway, hopefully they did wrap it up, and now we can move on to great things. We're excited. And
Can't you tell?
Yay!
Let me just get myself a little. I am excited. I'm just kind of.
We're excited. We really are excited because
allergic
you know what?
Today.
I wasn't excited to see the new season coming. I was actually kind of meh since last season. But I remember how excited I used to be every year, and from one week to the next, I used to be so excited. I used to be so excited for Talking Teal.
Wait.
And I would love to feel that way again.
Well, we felt very happy after the first episode.
I felt happy after the finale of last season.
Oh yeah, last season's finale was over the moon.
Right,
oh
so
my God,
there's
it was
reason.
so exciting.
So there's reason to believe that this will be an exciting season, and they're already shooting season 7. So we're excited that we're doing 2 more episodes for sure coming up in the next 2 weeks. So go right now to igg.me look at the thing and give whatever you can to make more episodes happen. And we will look forward to having as much of the season as we can with you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Our email is ladypartsvlog@gmail.com. We look forward to your emails for next week.
Bye.
Bye.